Trying to get a meeting for that swimming dude. On the 2nd of July. Old City Council chambers.
Jesus.
Hey, what's up, man? You alright?
How you doing, sir? Oh, know about all that.
You say that good one, man.
That out there.
Well, let me know. I'm going with you.
Better look fine. Okay, so tonight we don't.
Did you
have
win the money on Friday night? Who won the money? Bullet got the money. Yeah, he been working.
Good evening. It is now 5:30, and we're going to open up our public comment section of our meeting. this evening for July 17th, 2024. We have two speakers speaking to non-agenda items. The first speaker is Mr. John Finley. He will have 3 minutes. He's speaking to agenda items number 3, 4, and 8. For your information and for the audience information, agenda item 5, 6, and 8 have been pulled. Agenda items 5, 6, and 8 have been pulled. He's speaking to agenda items. I'm sorry.
So you've pulled agenda item number 8 again.
Agenda item number 8 has been.
You keep putting it on the agenda and pulling it off again and again and again. It's apparently not ready. You're still working on the details of it.
Are you
Yes.
starting?
Do you want me to start now?
presentation?
Your 3 minutes is starting now.
Now.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Now you have 3 minutes for all of your topics, 3 minutes total.
okay. Starting now?
Yes.
Or starting when you said before? Now?
No, we'll
What doesn't
start
matter?
now.
Doesn't matter to me.
We'll start
All
right
right.
now.
Okay. So it's interesting that agenda item number 8 is pulled again because you keep putting it back on the agenda and pulling it back off and putting it back on the agenda again and again and pulling it off again. What's the deal? Can't get the wording right? Really wasn't supposed to see the light of day, was it? That kind of deal. None of these go-forward deals were ever supposed to see the light of day and have public scrutiny. I don't think that's what anybody wanted that was making these deals. As far as resolution number 4 and 5, or was it 3 and 4? 3 and 4. Resolution declaring houses, buildings, and/or structures as nuisances and ordering their abatement, and a resolution providing for placement of costs of correcting certain nuisances on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected as such. You know, both of those are, I believe, just kind of sham ordinances. You guys do those all the time. It's just a reflex for you to do that. But what you're doing is, I don't think, right when you do those. I've had a lot of experience right now with the Code Enforcement Department. In fact, earlier today I opened a letter from Code Enforcement that, once again, was evidence of perjury. This time it's on a single page of paper, certifying, sworn under oath, that it was mailed by the 10th, or by the 11th, or by 10th. It said on the 10th. They swore that they mailed it by the 10th, and then it was notarized on the 11th. So how does that work? How does that work? Sworn under oath that it was mailed on the 10th and then notarized on the 11th. You need to look at your Code Enforcement Department. You can't trust anything that's saying. If they're lying in a sworn affidavit, can you trust anything that they say? I don't believe you can. I just got a bill for $270 for mowing on one of my properties. When I went over there, it didn't look like anything really had been done, except my fence was damaged. My fence had a big piece missing from it that wasn't missing before. Are they taking before and after pictures when they're doing work on these properties? Are you getting multiple bids? Or are you just having your buddies send bills and overcharge people? I don't think any of these invoices are actually going to get paid. I don't have any intention of paying any liens that are put on my properties. I paid bottom dollar of the tax auction for them. You know, some of these times you're charging me for mowing, you're charging me half as much as I paid for the property. You know, you're never going to collect as much as you've charged. It's a sham.
Do you have a copy of the letter, the notarized letter, and when the lien was filed with you?
So because, I'll come to the microphone again. Because I've had so many times I've told you your Code Enforcement Department is committing perjury. Again and again I've told you. This time I don't care so much about talking to you about it. I just posted the letter on Facebook for everybody to see.
Thank
It's posted publicly on Facebook.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our next speaker is Mr. Julius Lever. And Mr. Lever is speaking to agenda item number 1.
Good evening, City Council and fellow members. I am a pro-business person, whether that be a bank, a retail store, or a new startup. I will say that I did go and view the warranty deed that was given from Simmons Bank to Urban Renewal. And as I speak about that, I want to say the Urban Renewal, the name is not really good. So maybe we need to change the name because, as I said before, all over the country, they say negative things about what happens, not necessarily in Pine Bluff. I will say that I learned and saw where Mr. Massinelli, and I know the Massinelli family, he's the one that signed the deed over to Urban Renewal. And I want to say that's the only property that Simmons Bank controlled is a drive-in window. So the building in the back, the most money is spent, is owned by the University of Arkansas Board of Trustees. And I'm gonna be very quick by saying this. I noticed no one has come to a meeting representing the University of Arkansas Board of Trustees. No one has come to the meeting representing the Urban Renewal. So it makes me wonder, and even Simmons Bank, I don't know if anybody has ever come to these meetings to represent Simmons Bank. So I am encouraging you all, when you do vote, if you do vote, bear in mind that the University of Arkansas Board of Trustees has a building. They purchased the property, built the building for multi-million dollars. They just put a $300,000 or $400,000 air conditioning in it, and they bought 2 other lots. One of them, and as a gentleman at UAPB said, the lion's share of the money, as far as the building is concerned, came from UAPB. So I'll end by saying this. I dated a young lady for many years. She helped me in my business. She opened a mortgage company. And I noticed her name is Hope. It was a credit union in Simmons Bank, the Simmons building, I'm not Simmons building, UAPB incubator that said Hope Credit Union. I hadn't spoken to her, and I wondered if it's her credit union, because I know how she started business. We went to Atlanta, and she met some powerful people. She opened her own business. So if she wanted to open up a credit union on the facilities, I think she should be allowed to do so on every building but Simmons building. And that's the point. I don't think Simmons Bank should be in control indefinitely on the property or how it's used or how it's named. For example, and I'll say this as the bill goes off. One of the reasons why we have white flight is because blacks moved into the neighborhood faster than some people felt comfortable. But why did they do it in the 80s and the 90s instead of the 40s, the 50s, the 60s? Because Simmons Bank was going by an old rule that said you cannot finance a house in Pine Bluff unless you get local financing. And they refused to loan money to African Americans who wish to move into those neighborhoods. So as I read before, the bank sometimes calls the white flight, and then the bank sometimes uses Urban Renewal to try to repair the damages that they did by not allowing people to live in the neighborhood of their choice. I thank you for allowing me to speak, and I hope I have not been rude to anyone or have lied in any way.
You got through quickly, and that's good, but the last 2 statements you made were great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lever. At this time, we're going to call our meeting to order, and we'll open with our invocation, and it will be led this evening by Pastor Lewis Hinkle of Summit Baptist Church. We want you to stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Madam Mayor and honorable council members, thank you for giving me this privilege to pray and for allowing prayer to be a part of your civil proceedings. Let us pray. Father God, we thank you, Lord, for the day you've given us. We thank you for the great country that we live in. We thank you for the state of Arkansas that we occupy. And we thank you for the city of Pine Bluff. And Lord, we just ask you to be with these officials. May they govern righteously. May they govern fairly. And we'll give you the praise for what you're going to do, because we do need your hand. We do need your guidance. And we ask it all in the name of Jesus and for his sake. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Mays.
Here.
Councilmember Holcomb Jr.
Here.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Here.
Councilmember Lockett.
Here.
Councilmember Brown Senior.
Here.
Councilmember Shainer.
Here.
Councilmember Frazier. Here. And Councilmember Brunson.
Here. Okay, looks like everybody's present. Each of you should have a copy of the...
Second.
Okay. It has been moved and properly second that we approve the minutes as presented. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes stand approved as presented. Okay. I saw the 17th. And in your packet, you should also have minutes for the special call meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we accept the minutes of the special call meeting as presented. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are, of our special call meeting are approved as presented. And that was on the June 11th meeting. Okay? Looking at our agenda, we'll move on down to our committee reports. Ways and Means, Councilmember Mays, with Councilmember Brown substituting.
Thank you, Mayor. Ways and Means met just before this council meeting. There were no budget adjustments on the agenda, so it was immediately adjourned, and that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Brown. Ordinances and Resolutions, Councilmember Mays, with Councilmember Holcomb substituting.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 8 agenda items, all the resolutions. Number 1, 2, 3, 4 will be completed. Agenda items 5, 6, 8 have been pulled. Number 7 will be completed. All of you should have before you 3 added agenda items. Number 9, a resolution creating the Public Event Center Review Task Force. I move that this resolution be added to the agenda.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and second that agenda item number 9, creating a event center task force be created. Can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Mays.
Aye.
Councilmember Holcomb Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Senior.
Aye.
Councilmember Frazier. Aye. Councilmember Shainer. Aye. Councilmember Brunson. Aye.
Okay. Councilmember 9 will be agenda item 9 will be added to the agenda.
The next agenda item, which will be number 10, a resolution authorizing the mayor to submit an application to the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism for assistance in developing recreational facilities in the city. I move that this resolution be added to the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a resolution authorizing the mayor to submit an application to the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism for assistance in developing recreational facilities in the city be added to the agenda. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Mays.
Aye.
Councilmember Holcomb Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Senior.
Aye.
Councilmember Shainer. Aye. Councilmember Frazier. Aye. Councilmember Brunson. Aye.
Okay. Agenda item 10 has been approved to be added to the agenda.
Agenda item number 11, a resolution approving the Transit Department revised and updated public transportation agency safety plan and establishing safety performance targets for the Pine Bluff Transit Department. I move that this resolution be added to the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a resolution approving the Transit Department's revised and updated public Transportation Agency safety and establishing safety performance targets for the Pine Bluff Transit Department be added to the agenda. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mays.
Aye.
Councilmember Holcomb Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Sr.
Aye.
Councilmember Shainer. Councilmember Frazier. Councilmember Brunson.
Okay, agenda item 11, approved to be added to the agenda.
That concludes ordinance resolutions, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Holcomb. Our next report will come from Councilmember Brown Sr., Economic and Community Development.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, community development, there's no report for community development. I've always said that we need to do something about our tax revenue. And that's all I'm gonna have for you all tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Public Health and Welfare, Councilmember Frazier.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Health and Welfare met on June 13th at 11 a.m. via Zoom. And Cemetery, Michelle is working on having the trees cut down there. And they have 5 new contracts for May for new spaces sold. And then transit, we just added on to our agenda the PTASP, which is our Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, which has been updated, and it's only been updated basically with the new city council members and the new transit safety team members. And this plan is definitely essential in order for us to receive FTA funds, and must be approved through the full council in order for us to do so. So that's why we're bringing it up today. We discussed that at the meeting. And transit has received last of the COVID era buses that had been long delayed, so I'm excited about that. And they're preparing to dispose of about 12 buses and vans that have been removed from service. We'll utilize public surplus to auction off the old equipment. Some units may be donated within the proper guidelines. Details will be forthcoming. And I also would like to add that we didn't discuss, but they remodeled the conference room up in there in the transit department, and I would advise all the city council members and the mayor to, if you haven't done so already, and the clerk to go visit how they updated that conference room. It is absolutely gorgeous. And in reference to the park, we just finished, for those that might not know, we just finished demoing the old concession stand and bleachers and the old bathroom and the dugout and the middle fence. And so it looks totally different already there, and I can really see the vision of the new facilities and the new things that we're planning to do for the multi-purpose park that's going to be in Ward 3. So I ask everyone that has not driven by to go by and look. We are, when I say we, I mean we, as in me, the Ward 3 and Ward 3 friends, and are excited about this project. But also Larry Matthews said the next part would be about leveling the field, because right now it's really bumpy, so he's going to level it out, and we're planning to level it out and grade it and then put the seeds down so the grass can grow. But we have to find out how much that's going to cost. So we're looking into that, and as we get that information, I will keep you updated. I'm working hard on grants with our grant writers, so I thank Tiffany for her hard work and dedication towards trying to help us with this park, hence the agenda item that was added today. And then also I am doing legwork of reaching out to organizations and businesses in reference to donations, and even as individuals you can donate, and if you want to know how, just ask me and I will tell you. With that concludes my report, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Frazier. Public Works, Councilmember Shainer.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Works has not met since our last meeting. Probably schedule our next meeting the first part of next month, unless something comes up, then we need to have a special meeting.
Okay.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Shainer. Development and Planning, Councilmember Lockett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Development and Planning has not met since our last meeting. However, we have, this is kind of new to me, y'all. We have 2 items that needs council approval. They are satisfaction and release items that I'll just read here that the property account number 2022 0000788 is, I make a motion, and I guess, Madam City Attorney, shall you read the release, or would it just be proper to make the motion?
Just make the motion.
Okay, I make the motion that the above noted account be released from the lien because the owner has paid the $260.14 that was levied on that particular property.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and second. That, is that 2 or 1 of them?
That's one. I'll make a motion for the second as soon as we pass the first.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that 1 satisfaction and release item be cleared. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the first
Okay.
one approved.
All righty. The next is account number 2020 00001
26?
26. Yeah,
I make the
yeah.
second.
Yeah, I move that this be released because the owner has paid the $241.44.
It's been moved and properly second that a property lien be released in the amount of $241.44. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that lien number has been cleared.
Madam Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Lockett. I think that's the first time we've done those.
Yes, ma'am. That's the first time I've seen.
Okay, Traffic and Aviation, Councilmember Brunson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Traffic and Aviation, we have not met, but we do have 2 no parking sign requests that came through our committee that we passed to go to the full council for approval. One was for New St. Hurricane Church, and the other one was for out in Industrial Parkway. And I want to make a motion now to get those signs approved so they can be put into those areas that were requested.
Could you elaborate? I'll second them.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So you second?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the signs to be, okay, thank you.
One was New St. Hurricane, and what was the other one?
The other one was on Constitution Cove out in Industrial Parkway, where these tractor trailers were leaving their trailers in their open areas, just parking them there. And they requested to have a no parking sign there due to the fact that people are trying to come and view property over there, and these trailers are in that space where that is
And what kind of
located.
sign is that at New St. Hurricane?
A no parking sign.
No parking
So
sign
these are
at
2
both.
no parking signs.
But, no,
No
okay.
parking also.
Can I ask the question? So first of all, I want to know the relevance, and then where would these people park if they didn't park there? And you can explain St. Hurricane too.
Okay, so where the tractor trailers, they shouldn't be parking there anyway. It's not their property to park their trailers on that. They're parking their trailer like from UPS, the UPS Industrial Park, wherever UPS shipping facility. They're using that space for their tractors, and other companies are using this particular space, and it's owned by, I want to say the Alliance. And they're using their space to drop their trailers there instead of using their own company space,
Again, who owns it?
the Alliance.
Well, the land, I believe, is probably owned by, or is controlled by the Alliance. I'm not sure who owns the actual lot, but those lots are for sale out there. And so when they try to show those lots to a potential buyer, you have all these tractor trailers there.
I just need to understand what is happening. Okay.
And so for New St. Hurricane, these no parking signs will be on the side of Ohio because they have people parking on the side of the street, which is causing a safety hazard for individuals and people coming to church. They have a full-size parking lot where people can park, but people still use the side of Ohio to park instead of using the parking lot.
They're using what instead of the parking lot?
The side of Ohio, they're using Ohio Street to
Now,
park.
who requested this?
New St. Hurricane.
The church.
Okay. So there is a form that needs to be completed.
It has been.
It has been. Do you have copies of it for us?
Yes, it should be with the city clerk's office.
They have a real large congregation and visiting situation. So what happens when people have to park there? Because I've been over there when they've had a lot of cars there. I'm just trying to figure out what, it's only gonna be mostly an hour to an hour and a half, at max 2 hours during the day, of either a Sunday or some special event. So I'm just trying to figure out what is the total purpose for that. That's my concern.
It's a traffic issue. When people
Is
are
it
trying
really?
to come out of the parking lot, you can't see what's going on. Yeah.
Okay. Is it gonna be all the way down or just near the entrance exits of the parking lot?
The entrance and exits of what the church owns, it's like they have a little park there now, and then they have the food pantry. So it's gonna be for the distance, and within that is the exit and entry to the parking lot. So that's where it would be, in front of the church.
Well, actually, that entire street is no parking.
Oh, okay.
On Ohio Street, because we had a truck that was inoperable in front of one of our residences, and we had to have that moved. So that's a no parking zone,
Okay.
period.
So it's just signage really at
Yeah.
this point.
Signage at the church, for the church members primarily and for people coming in. So there is make sure that form is in the clerk's office.
Okay.
I think we do have enough information to vote on those two. So one was New St. Hurricane and the other one was no parking.
At Constitution Cove, out in industrial.
Constitution Cove.
Out in the industrial park.
Can we vote on both of those at the same time? I'm sorry. Can we get an approval for both of those at the same time in one motion?
I would do them individually.
Individually, okay.
Johnson.
Okay.
Oh, so I want to make a go ahead,
Okay.
Mayor.
Did you make the motion for the second one?
No, she just made one for both.
Okay.
So we gotta
They
redo
did it for both, but we need to do each one.
Okay, so I'll do the first one for the motion to put the no parking signs for New St. Hurricane. And then, we'll go ahead and
A
vote.
second.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we have the street department design and install a no parking sign in front of New St. Hurricane Missionary Baptist Church. The floor is open for discussion. I think we've had that.
All right.
Okay, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The parking sign for New St. Hurricane is approved.
And I want to make a motion to put no parking signs at Constitution Cove out in Industrial Park.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a no parking sign be installed at Constitution Cove out in the Industrial Parkway in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. The floor is open for discussion. Any questions? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, parking sign at Constitution Cove and Industrial Parkway is approved.
And that was all I had for my report, Mayor.
Just get those signs, those forms into the clerk's office, make sure they have them.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Brunson. Administration, Councilmember Holcomb Jr.
Thank you, Mayor. The administration committee has not met since the last council meeting, we had a scheduled meeting on last week, and that meeting did not take place. So we'll have our regular scheduled meeting, which is the second Tuesday of each month. That will be July the 9th. And right now, it will be a Zoom meeting. If it's hybrid, I'll contact your office. That'll be at 4 p.m.
That's 4 p.m., July 9th,
Yes, ma'am.
and that will be Zoom.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Holcomb. Public Safety, Councilmember Brown Jr.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Safety met on the 5th of this month. We heard from Mr. Graydon at Animal Control. We actually had Mr. Vernon from Waste Management there, and he discussed the contract that we had on our last agenda. He said that it will be $40 per ton. There will be no minimum as far as weight, as far as the weights on that. So there's not a minimum weight. We're getting a 10% discount for disposal of those animal carcasses, and this is starting 2025. And basically, we'd just be charged according to what weighs in at the time. So,
Will there be a pickup?
no, we actually take it out there to them.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. He also mentioned that they were behind on commercial pickups, and that's due to maintenance problems and also an increased employee turnover. So if there's individuals that have commercial dumpsters and they haven't been picked up, it's just because they didn't ignore it. It's just the fact they've had maintenance problems and then getting the employees out to get those. As far as I know, he said that the individuals that didn't get picked up, they wouldn't be charged for those pickups. And so if they are, then to notify Waste Management about that.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there an extra cost to the city
For what?
to pick up?
The animals? Well, animal control actually picks up, if there's an animal in the road, animal control would pick that animal up, and then they would take those animals out to the dump site.
Okay, who's gonna monitor that when it starts? I mean, we got people adding fees on because of the city. And they'll add fees on when nobody's looking. We passed this here, somebody has to watch it.
Well, that invoice would go to animal control. I'm pretty sure they can keep up with what type of deliveries they've made as far as the animal carcasses and things like that.
And you said they do call-ins on those. And so that would be a tracking record for every call that they get.
Okay.
I do know that they need that help because we've had quite a few deer in the road lately, and we send out one guy most times, and it's pretty cumbersome for them to handle some of the animals, the car cases that they're getting. So this is much needed. Okay. All right, Councilmember Brown.
Okay. He also mentioned that the AC units were installed at the old facility and they're working good. He also mentioned about there were 136 animals brought into the facility, 15 adoptions, and 50 euthanized. He brought up that spaying and neutering of cats, as those cats come in, if they catch a cat out somewhere out wild, then they will spay and neuter those cats and then release them back into the population. If they have a dog that they bring in, then they would spay and neuter and then offer that dog out for adoption. But just with the cat population, it's just so many that they can't keep all of them in the facility. So basically, they spay, neuter, and then release back out. He also thanked the police department. They were provided some bulletproof vests from the police department just for better protection. Animal control sometimes have to go out on some pretty intense calls, and so those vests give those officers a little bit more assurance when they have to approach people within the community. We heard from Chief Howell at the fire department. He said they had 451 calls for service. There were no spikes in any categories as per his monthly report. He mentioned that they are doing in-house training for their new fire truck at Fire Station number 2 on Pullen. And we currently have 4 officers in the academy. Those officers are already done with EMT training, and 3 of 4 of those have already passed the National Registry test. And that last one, then they're doing some more in-house training, and that individual should be able to pass on this next time. Station 1 had a for the ladder truck, they had a ceremony to put that ladder truck into service. That was on June 10th. So you probably noticed that truck riding around town. That's a ladder truck from Fire Station number 1, and we also have the truck from Fire Station number 2. Brought up about burn barrels. If you have a barrel permit, so technically if you're burning in the city of Pine Bluff, you should have a permit to burn. And just in case people didn't know that, you can get a 12-month barrel permit, or you can get a 60-day burn pile permit. And so get with the fire department on those. If you plan on burning anything in your yard, before you do so, make sure you get that permit. Councilmember Frazier brought up about a burned structure in her ward at 3007 Allister, and I think we're supposed to get some type of...
It's been handled.
Okay. All right. Chief Howell also mentioned that the second year for the junior fire program, it actually occurred from June 10th to June 14th. That was a week-long program. Lieutenant Murray was in charge of that, and that's for individuals aged 13 to 15. Chief Richardson from the police department reported there was an overall 12.45% reduction in crime. And then we also discussed that we would have the GVI director or deputy chief warrior to start giving us updates on what's going on within GVI. Our bike patrol has been out patrolling. Their first day was on Tuesday, May 4th, and they actually attended the grand opening of the groundbreaking at Bushfield. Chief Richardson also mentioned that they're also putting their drones into use now, so they've been training and using those within, I guess, within certain parts of the community or whenever they're needed. We had Captain Donna Fertizzi retired on June 1st and actually appointed a new captain. That will be Sean Davis. He's going to be over the administration division, and that's in charge of, he will be over fleet management, mechanics, and our crime center. And so if you see him out in the community, make sure you congratulate him. Our bike patrol, like I said, first stop was Bushfield, and then just some information about it. They ride 20-plus miles. They rode 20-plus miles on the first day. They made multiple stops around town. I actually saw them one day riding around when I was standing out in front of my office, so they are riding around. And those officers are actually putting in a double duty when they do bike patrol, so they perform their regular task, whether it's patrol or whatever division they're in, and then bike patrol will be extra for them. So they're actually putting in double duty to do bike patrol. And that concludes my report, Mayor. I don't have anything else.
Okay, very good. One of the things that I think is notable is the fact that the air conditioning units that were installed at Animal Control were installed by our friends of the shelter. They were donated and installed by them. So I think that's notable to mention. So we are thankful. This was one of our out-of-state partners, and so we're thankful for the partnerships and the friends of the shelter that we have. Thank you so much for your public safety report.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, we're going to move into our ordinances and resolutions. Councilmember Holcomb.
Agenda item number 1, a resolution amending resolutions number 4733 and 4750 to remove a property erroneously included for assessment of a lien.
Whereas through an error, resolutions number 4733 and 4750 each include a reference to the same property for assessment of a lien for grass, weed, trash clearing, which should not have been included. And whereas the error should be corrected and the lien records amended accordingly. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, that resolution number 4733 passed on October 16, 2023 is amended to delete lines 4 through 6 on page 12. The lien against the property is canceled and removed. Section 2, that resolution number 4750 passed December 18, 2023 is amended to delete lines 1 through 3 on page 9. The lien against that property is canceled and removed.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that a resolution amending resolutions numbers 4733 and 4750 to remove a property erroneously included for assessment of a lien. The floor is open for discussion. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 2, a resolution amending resolution number 4431 to delete a property 1813 West 26th Avenue.
Whereas in resolution number 4431 passed August 16, 2021, the council declared the property listed below to be a public nuisance and ordered its abatement. And whereas property owner thereafter raised and removed the nuisance structure and the property is no longer a nuisance. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that resolution number 4431 passed August 16, 2021 is amended to delete lines 13 through 16 on page 3 thereof, concerning property with the street address of 1813 West 26th Avenue. Belonging to VSMTC Development Corporation, as the property is no longer a public nuisance.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that a resolution amending resolution number 4431 to delete a property located at 1813 West 26th Avenue be approved. The floor is open for questions, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 3, a resolution declaring certain houses, buildings, and/or structures as nuisance and ordering their abatement.
Whereas the City Council has determined.
It has been moved and properly second that a resolution declaring certain houses, buildings, and/or structures as nuisances and ordering their abatement be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 4, a resolution providing for placement of costs or correcting certain nuisance on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected as such.
Whereas ACA.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a resolution providing for placement of cost of correcting certain nuisances on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected as such be approved. The floor is open for a discussion. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 7, a resolution permitting the ECD to place temporary signage on the sidewalks in and the Delta Rhythm and Bayous Cultural District.
For revitalization of the downtown area, the city has created the Delta Rhythm and Bayous Cultural District. And whereas the Economic and Community Development Department has developed a series of educational guides highlighting to the historical nature of the area as regards music, cinema, and civil rights. And whereas to generate additional foot traffic to introduce the cultural district's boundaries to the public, the department desires to install temporary sidewalk decals strategically placed around the district perimeter and in key locations to provide additional information to the interest of visitors. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the Economic and Community Development Department is authorized to install temporary sidewalk decals throughout the downtown Delta Rhythm and Bayous Cultural District to enhance the experience of persons exploring the rich history of the area.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that a resolution permitting the ECD to place temporary signage on sidewalks in the Delta Rhythm and Bayous Cultural District be approved. The floor is open for discussion.
I have a question. What is the, if it's temporary, what's the cost of these decals? Does anybody have that?
I don't have that information, but I'm going to ask Mr. Michael McCray or Mr. Cunningham. I know you all have been working with that. Can one of you provide that information? I do know that I had a meeting with Mr. McCray one day last week, I believe it was, and the signage will go on side streets, not on the sidewalks on Main Street. I think we're looking at Third and State. He'll give them some information as to where the signage will go.
Sure. The costs are about $3,300 for, I think it's 56 decals currently. The list that we have is up to 75. So, and they'll go around the perimeter of the cultural district, not along Main Street. So that'd be from, I guess on 2nd Street, from Pine to State, from State to 3rd, from 3rd back to Pine, Pine up to, from 3rd up to 2nd. So it's basically the perimeter of the cultural district.
You said $1,300?
I said $3,300.
$3,300. I thought you said $1,300 as well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, and then you said they're a temporary. How long do they last?
About a year.
So are we looking to try to replace them as they?
Well, no. Well, hopefully within the year we will start construction on the main features of the park. So what the decal will then be replaced by statues and other ornaments. So what we're doing is we're giving people kind of a sneak peek into what's going to be coming for the cultural district.
Okay.
Mr. Craig, where's the funding coming from?
It's coming from the A&P Commission.
A&P?
The A&P.
So it's saying temporary signage.
Just imagine a kind of like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So you'll see a 2x2 square that'll have some significant person. You walk by and you'll say that this person has whatever connection to Pine Bluff and Jefferson County. There'll be a QR code reader where you can take your phone and perhaps listen to a video or audio clip. So it's just a way for people to start to engage with the cultural district and start to get more information about our rich, illustrious history.
So you're saying $3,300?
Yeah, that's gonna be, you said 56 or 75?
You said the cost of some was the cost of, I would put down $3,300.
Yeah, $3,300 for the cost, right?
Right.
And then you said it's gonna be 56 decals right now, but
Right.
we're gonna bump it up to 75?
Right.
Then it would just be a little bit closer to 5 maybe, or something like that?
Something like that.
Okay, I was just, I just had a couple of questions about it. And so I guess we're replacing those on the sidewalk. Will it, I know you said they last a year, but there's nothing that would be more permanent that could go
Well, the
there?
more permanent fixtures will be built into the walls, into the
district itself.
It's a living, it's really an outdoor museum.
Right, understood. I just,
Yeah.
I'd like to see it there.
I like the idea of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like.
That's like, I want it there forever if we can
Yeah.
get it. That's why I was trying to figure out, like, what would the long-term goal be to have those along the path, and then it'd be more a permanent situation?
Well, we'll continue to have the information. I actually need to get back with ECD and the A&P as to whether we want to have this type of installation to be permanent.
Okay.
But right now we're trying to get something going quickly and to kind of bring some more attention to it.
Gotcha.
So are they being ordered locally, or you gotta go out of town and order it?
We tried locally, but they didn't have the right material. So I think the place that we found out that works best is out of, I believe it's out of California. But we did try to purchase local.
I think it's a great idea. I think it'll definitely give us a little bit more spark downtown,
All right.
so.
Thank you, Councilman.
I have a question. When will they start the installation of this? Like when?
It should start very soon. As soon as we get them in, the street department is plotting them. We actually had hoped that they'd be out by Juneteenth, so when everybody was here that they could have seen it, but that didn't
That
happen.
would have been cool.
Thank you.
What was it? What was that total again?
3,300.
No, I'm talking about the number.
Oh, the 3,300, 56 have been ordered now, but we have a list of basically 25 for the cinema walk, 25 for the music walk, 25 for the civil rights legacy trail. So total, we're looking at a total of 75.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you can send an email to us to show us an image of what y'all plan to put on there, I would like to see it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just would like to see it.
You know?
2x2. So it's kind of like the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
That's not that.
It's 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet,
Yeah.
which is gonna be double
Yeah.
that. Square.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good idea, whoever came up with that. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. McCray. Okay. So let's vote. Any other questions or comments before we vote? Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 9, resolution creating the Pine Bluff Event Center Review Task Force.
Whereas the city of Pine Bluff has a variety of public and private spaces that provide the ideal setting for events, and whereas the city of Pine Bluff is people-oriented and encourages the use of its private and public facilities for pleasure and enjoyment of local residents. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, the creation and purpose. There is hereby established and created the Event Center Review Task Force for the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. The purpose of the Event Center Review Task Force is to review policy related to event centers and their regulation within the Pine Bluff Municipal Code. Purposes: A, to propose and review policy related to ordinances to allow for the establishment and regulation of event centers. B, to propose and review policy related to defining and suggesting certain requirements for event centers. C, to propose and review policy related to the location of event centers in zoning districts. D, to propose and review policy related to defining event center operations and suggesting certain safety requirements for event centers. Section 2, composition. The City Council may appoint and affirm the membership of the task force composed of representatives of the following entities: 2 members of the Planning Commission, 2 members of Inspection and Zoning, an Executive Director of Southeast Arkansas Regional Planning, 1 member of the Arkansas City Attorney's Office, 3 members of the Pine Bluff City Council, 1 member of the Pine Bluff Police Department, 1 member of the Fire Department, and 3 city residents. Section 3, meetings and officers. The task force shall meet as frequently as the members shall desire, but in no event not less than once per quarter. B, the task force shall designate one of its members as chairman, who shall serve as the presiding officer of the task force meetings, and a vice chairman who shall preside in the chairman's absence. The task force may provide for other officers as it deems necessary. Section 4, the duration, staff, and support. The task force will end on December 24th or until the duties are accomplished. The Pine Bluff Inspection and Zoning Department will provide staff support to the task force for meeting notification, agenda preparation, clerical support, information gathering, and arrangements for guest speakers, all to the extent permitted by staffing and budgetary limitations. The City Attorney's Office will provide legal advice to the task force as needed. Section 5, budget. There is no budget allocation for the work of the task force, and participation on the task force is as a volunteer.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a resolution creating the Pine Bluff Event Center Review Task Force be approved. The floor is open for discussion.
Mayor, I want to know, is this a contraction or is this something that's going to interrupt what we already have? Because I know we've already passed some rules for event centers, and now we're doing a task force. Someone should have already been in charge of this. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what are we doing with this. Is this a contraction, or this is interference, or is this what in between? If I could get some answers.
There has been a lot of conflict and discussions about event centers because we've had a lot of different buildings being presented to the Planning Commission to be approved for event centers. And so they've seen a need to develop a task force so that they can be more direct and concentrated on making sure that they have guidelines that they are following to open up these event centers. So my understanding is the Planning Commission saw a need that they have a task force appointed for that purpose.
I just don't want it to be serious interference with people trying to do, their entertainment or their venture or whatever they have. I'm all for doing it properly. I just want to make sure that it's not going to be an interference.
Well, actually, that's why it's being created, because it is creating an interference with people who are trying to have events, who have the space already. It's creating an obstacle for small business owners and people who are trying to create a different space from an event standpoint in the city. So what was previously created in that ordinance needed to be revisited, because we're in a different space now, and we need to progress as the time progresses, and we want to make sure we have the right guidelines in place to be fair and just for those individuals and small businesses who do want to provide these type of services.
Okay, so will this event creators have to go before this task force?
Well, the task force is actually us coming together to set some parameters around what should be expected from those who want to have that business. So just like we're doing for the tiny houses, we don't have anything in place, so we had to do a task force so we can all come in alignment on what that looks like for those who want to open businesses like this in the city.
And then also right now, as far as event centers goes, we're very restrictive on it. So if it's a new event center right now, there's really not legislation for someone to open one. So the only ones that are in existence now, they were in existence before we changed the ordinance. It was a long time ago, but at some point there was an ordinance that was passed and it made it very restrictive as far as event centers. And so people that are trying to open one now are just kind of running into a roadblock when it comes to event centers. And so we're just trying to find a way to set rules, but also allow individuals to purchase a building, whether it be a church or warehouse or whatever type of structure it may be, so they will be able to open one instead of right now just not being able to open one.
Well, I understand. I just don't want it to be another planning committee.
And right now, we have a lot of outdated legislation that needs to be looked at, but we can't look at all of it at one time. But as the citizens address their concerns, we're able to look at those legislations and see how we can update them for the current time that we're in right now. So,
And it also helps those who have spaces now who want to do that. Because right now, those who might have the space to do an event, they cannot due to the ordinance that we have in place currently. So it's a twofold. We're helping those small businesses who have the space now, but we're also helping those who want to do it in the future.
Well, all I'm saying is we could actually wait it out, but say somebody had a venture and they wanted to, have at a certain time or a certain area. I'm just wondering, will they have 20 days, 30 days to meet with this committee, or what would happen, to submit a letter to the group? Or I just want to know the process.
No.
This committee is just to make the rules so that they can set the rules for the events, and they're still going to have to go through the process like any other business does to create a business here in the city. But those that's already here and those that's coming, this task force will come together in order to set the guidelines, the new guidelines of what it will take to be an event center in the city of Pine Bluff.
And also
And then once we do that, that's how come I said it's gonna end December. Because once we set those rules, our job will be done on whoever is on the task force.
Right. It may come to the point where an event center may not even have to go to the planning commission. And so that's what the task force is going to do, to see what's going to be the best way of trying to get these event centers open. So.
I just want to say, y'all just created another problem for us. I want to make sure that people understand.
We're trying to solve one here.
We're trying to
solve a problem.
Trying to make it
Okay,
easier.
thank you for the discussion.
Well, I have something.
Councilmember
to say.
Mays.
Thank you, Mayor. Like Alderman Brown Senior, I think we're putting too much red tape for our citizens. We brought this up a couple of years ago, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on these event centers. It's just something right now, we're just gonna hold up the people trying to get one in Pine Bluff. And the thing about it, I just got this today when I came up here. I mean, really? You can't we voted on something like this a while back, and we're in motion. The city of Pine Bluff is in motion. And what this does here is slows down the motion when somebody trying to start a business or just an event
Actually, it's
center.
helping them.
Well, we had already had, well, the task force, we had already, am I right, Brown Senior?
Well, they corrected me by saying that it's not a hamper, it's to set up to make sure that maybe it's easier for them to do it. That's what I understand.
Well, we had already done this, a while back, and
No, Councilmember Mays, this is the first step in us trying to make it easier for an individual or business to try to open an event center. This is gonna help citizens.
but you're talking 6 months.
Well, you have to have.
I mean, really?
But you have to have the legislation in place in order.
6 months from now, though? And if somebody want to come up and get a event center,
Councilmember
you
Mays,
can't put them on hold for 6 months,
you have
man.
to,
You already,
we have to start somewhere,
Really?
Councilmember. We have to start somewhere.
Well, if they want to do one now, they can't do it at all. If
Well, it's
somebody
some kind of
wanna come and
legislation,
open
right,
one
Joe?
now, the answer is
what do we
no.
have now, Joe? City- what do we have
answer
now?
is
We have
no.
something on the books right now.
Right now, there are only select places that can have event centers. So what I'm understanding the task force to do is to meet to determine whether we should adjust, modify those parameters that would allow them to be in other places. Right now, there's a distance requirement from residential areas. So maybe that task force may want to reduce that distance so that it would allow for more event centers to be established. So they're just trying to help those people who wish to have event centers.
So does anybody on the task force have an event center?
There's no task force at this time.
What we're trying to explain is those who have event centers can't do anything now. And what this piece of legislation is trying to help those who have event centers. This is not a piece of legislation to hurt those, but help.
But you're talking 6 months.
Not-
You can move legislation a lot faster than that. Then you got to go out and find some people, handpick some people that's already too busy to be busy.
Not
Well,
necessarily.
the reality of it is, if the ordinance would have allowed that in the beginning, when it was written, we wouldn't be here, but it wasn't in there. So now we have to go back and do it so it can be adjusted. So when it was written, it should have been in there where it would made it easier for those who want to open event centers to do that. But since it wasn't, I wasn't on the council, so now we have to go back and rework.
I mean, the
Right.
city.
I think it was done to actually make it more strict at the time. There were some issues with a lot of event centers just popping up all over town, and so they wanted something that was gonna be strong enough to keep people from just opening up a center anywhere in any building. So I think that was the purpose behind it.
Well, it could have been done, we could have sent the police out, some and talk to the people that own the
But
event
Councilmember
center.
Mays, we can't get started until we pass this.
Okay, we're going to end our discussion on item number 9, and we're going to vote. All those in favor of agenda item number 9, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mays?
No.
Councilmember Holcomb Jr.?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.?
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Senior?
Aye.
Councilmember Shaner? Councilmember Frazier?
Aye.
Councilmember Brunson?
Aye.
7-1. This passes 7-1.
Agenda item number 10, a resolution authorizing the mayor to submit an application to the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism for assistance in developing recreational facilities in the city.
Whereas the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas seeks to improve the Bush Park located at 2201 Arlington Drive and wishes to seek grant funding assistance. And whereas to obtain the funds necessary to develop and improve the site for such a recreational area, it is essential to get an outdoor recreation matching grant from the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism. And whereas the plans for such recreation areas have been prepared and the price therefore has been established. And whereas the City of Pine Bluff is fully committed to successfully implementing this project, understanding that the grantee and grantor will enter into a binding agreement that obligates both parties to policies and procedures contained within the Outdoor Recreation Matching Grant Application Guide. These include, but are not limited to, the following: the park area defined by the project boundary map submitted with the application must remain in outdoor recreation use in perpetuity, regardless if the property is bought or developed with matching fund grants, and all future overhead utility lines within the project boundary must be placed underground, and the project area must remain open and available for use by the public at all reasonable times of the day and year. Facilities can be reserved for special events, league play, etc., but not reserved, leased, or assigned for exclusive use, and the project area must be kept clean, maintained, and operated in a safe and healthful manner. And whereas the City Council is well aware of the appraised value of the above-mentioned project and will provide the local portion of the development costs for the entire project. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the mayor is hereby authorized to make application to the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism for assistance in developing recreational facilities for the city.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing the mayor to submit an application to the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism for assistance in developing recreational facilities in the city of Pine Bluff, more specifically Bush Park. The floor is open for discussion.
Madam Mayor, I got one request. I'd been talking to Ms. Walker, and she was talking about doing a comprehensive park-type outdoor piece. I only have one suggestion, that we consider collaborating or the Bush Park project and the Delta Rhythm and Bayous project. And I only say that because with both of these projects, with Delta Rhythm and Bayous already having funding to provide a match, we could do an application that would be stronger, larger, and a little more sustainable. So I just want to just make that suggestion that possibly Councilman Frazier and maybe Ms. Walker with Community Development and Mr. Cunningham and Mr. McCray kind of look at how we could maybe leverage more funding, make a better grant, and it'd be a little bit stronger by having two projects. Ms. Walker said she had done this in the past where the monies in one pot would match potential monies that we would be requesting to make a larger and more sustainable grant.
Mayor, may I?
I haven't had that particular conversation with Ms. Walker, but my understanding.
Oh, go ahead, ma'am.
My understanding was that this was the $500,000 outdoor park and recreation grant. I do know that we are going to be working with Delta Rhythm and Bayous. I think we can pass this and then still have that conversation with Ms.
I
Walker.
don't have a problem with that.
To see where we're going with that, because I have not had that conversation. I know we are working with Delta Rhythm and Bayous in their grant process as we move forward.
I just want to put on the record, I have an issue with it because, first of all, we have not had a viable park in Ward 3 in a long time. And second, pairing it with another project, I don't see how that can be beneficial to us. From my understanding, they were denied a grant through them previously. And I don't want my park, I don't want the park for Ward 3 held up because of anything else. I'm seeking other funding, but I don't want to hinder any progress we've made thus far in reference to seeking funding by putting another project in there. I mean, other departments, other wards have gotten.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
excuse me, but for the sake of time, right now, we're just going to vote on this resolution as it is presented. And if some adjustments can be or will be made after a conversation with Ms. Walker, we'll discuss that at that time. But I don't think that will put your grant in any jeopardy. Okay. Right now, we're voting on the grant as submitted and the grant as sponsored by Councilmember Lynette Frazier as presented. Okay? Any other questions or comments?
Yes, I do. That's a good point, Alderwoman Frazier, good point you made. And you, honestly, this paperwork, I just got it an hour ago or less when the meeting started. And y'all rushing this through. And, I mean, really? Really?
Alderman Mays, may I?
We have submitted several of these outdoor recreation matching grants with the
Well, it wasn't a price on here, Mary. It's no price on here.
Right now, we don't
So
know
what's the
what that
cost of
amount
it?
would be, but we know the maximum is 500,000 on this one. So it may be the max, and it's a match grant. So we pretty much know that we will apply for the entire amount because she's going to need that.
If I'm not mistaken, that's $500,000.
Well, it is, and it's good that we can apply for that much because we need it all. But it's a 250 match, and the 250 from the grant, the 250 match makes the 500,000.
And Alderman Mays, just to be clear, I did intend to have it on there the last city council council meeting, but some way it didn't get on there. So that's how come I'm trying to get on here now.
So, Joe, can they bring something up now?
Yes, yes.
Attorney Scott, and put it on the agenda without having a meeting on it? Really?
This only will be applied to the resolution and the conditions that are listed in the resolution as presented by Councilmember Frazier.
Any other questions, comments? If not,
No, no
let's
more.
vote. All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 11, a resolution approving the Transit Department revised and updated Public Transportation Agency safety plan and establishing safety performance targets for the Pine Bluff Transit Department.
Whereas safety is a core business function for all public transportation providers and should be systematically applied to every aspect of service delivery, as the Federal Transit Administration has adopted the principles and methods of safety management systems as the basis for enhancing the safety of public transportation in the United States. And whereas the Federal Transit Administration has published the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan in 49 CFR 673, which requires that all FTA Section 5307 recipient transit agencies establish a PTASP that meets the requirements of Part 673. And whereas the PTASP and subsequent updates must be signed by the accountable executive and approved by the agency's board of directors or an equivalent authority. And whereas the PTASP must document the processes and activities related to safety management system implementation and include performance targets based on the safety performance measures established under the National Public Transportation Safety Plan, with those targets being shared with Southeast Arkansas Regional Planning Agency and the Arkansas Highway and Transportation Department. And whereas the initial PTASP plan of the Transit Department was adopted and approved along with subsequent revisions and updated. And whereas the Pine Bluff Transit Department is dedicated to ensure that the necessary processes are in place to accomplish both enhanced safety at the local level and the goals of the NSP as the SMS helps organizations improve upon their safety performance by supporting the institutionalization of beliefs, practices, and procedures for identifying, mitigating, and monitoring safety risks. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the City Council approves the attached PTASP for the Pine Bluff Transit Department and the tenets of SMS, including a safety management policy and the processes for safety risk management, safety assurance, and safety promotion per 49 USC 5329 D1A. The policy document is incorporated herein as if fully set forth. As safety has always been a primary function at the Transit Department, this PTASP lays out a process to fully implement and review an SMS on a yearly basis in order to continue compliance with the PTASP final rule.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a resolution approving the Transit Department's revised and updated Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan and establishing safety performance targets for the Pine Bluff Transit Department be approved. The floor is open for a discussion.
Mayor, again, this is just so that the citizens know that this is just updating our plan that we already had in place, and we just got the new council members put into the plan, and also the new transit safety team put into the plan. And we have to have this passed so we can secure FTA funding. And Ms. Shaw is here if anybody else have any other questions.
Yes, I am. I mean, I just got this right before the city council. I mean, this is basically a book.
It is a plan that has been in place for many years, and basically it's updating it with the names of new city council members.
Nothing else changed.
What was added other than that? Can we let Ms. Shaw, she's the director, can she speak for a minute?
Mrs. Shaw?
I mean, really? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Councilmember Mays. The only thing that's going to change in that document is the update of the names. The material information there has not changed, so the targets and none of those things are going to change. But we felt it was important to make sure that the governing body is recognized in the document, and that as the team in transit has changed, some positions have changed, we want to make sure that that information is available as well.
So it's no cost to the taxpayers?
Oh, no. No money attached to this resolution.
I can't speed read, you know, 20, 30, 40 pages.
Yes, sir.
So just so he understands, the plan itself is basically the same.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mrs. Shaw. Thank you. Thank you. If there are no other questions, let's vote. All in favor of resolution number 11, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
I move we be adjourned.
Second.
Okay. Before we go, we had a couple of items were pulled, and one of those were some appointments that won't be made tonight. I don't know whether those people are here or not. I think there may be someone here. I'd like to apologize to you. Those were just pulled just minutes before the meeting started, and we didn't have time to call and inform you. So thank you. We want to thank you for your willingness to serve, and you will be called upon. And we'll let you know when that will happen. So I thank you for your understanding and for being here. Was there anyone else here? Joshina Moore? I need you to pronounce both of those names for me. Ms. Butler, will you pronounce your first name for me?
Yes, ma'am. It's Zedrulin, so Z-E-D-R-A-L-I-N.
Okay, it's not spelled right on. We'll fix that when we, okay. Very good. And?
It's Jessica Moore.
Joshua Moore. Okay. These were two items that were pulled last minute by the person who the committee that was filing them. We will revisit them. So can we just give them a round of applause for being here and for their willingness to serve? We appreciate that, and we apologize for the inconvenience. But thank you so much for understanding. Okay. First, we're going to have some announcements, and then after those announcements, we're going to go into our speakers. We have about 4 speakers, I think. We want you to note that on Wednesday, June 12th, well, I think Wednesday, June 12th is already passed, but this past last Wednesday, we had the official grand opening or ribbon cutting for our Harbor Oaks Pro Shop. So for those of you who are golfers, the Pro Shop is now open, and it is beautiful. The grounds are beautiful, and progress is still under construction at Harbor Oaks. Oh, what motion on the floor? Oh, I'm sorry, did we not finish that? Can we do the announcements and then adjourn? Okay, was there a motion to adjourn and I didn't finish?
I second it.
All right, so, okay, it's been moved and seconded that we are adjourned. So I'm going to move on with these announcements so we can move on. I don't know, excuse me for that, I thought we finished it. Okay, all right, Thursday, June 13th, the Welcome to Pine Bluff sign was unveiled at University Drive. I think all of you know that we have 3 welcome signs that were installed prior to COVID. They were pre-COVID installations. And then the one at 63, the one at 65, and the one at Whitehall, the entrance at Whitehall in the Dollaway area. And so there was one to go, and that one is at UAPB, the entrance at UAPB. And this sign completion, the installation was completed this past Friday. So if you've not gone by UAPB to see that entrance sign, you must do so. It was our goal to have that sign installation completed before the football season started for this year. The City Hall will be closed on this Wednesday to recognize Juneteenth, that's June 19th. The Pine Bluff High School, or the Pine Bluff School District, will be having a historical groundbreaking. They're getting ready to build the new high school, and so that groundbreaking ceremony will take place on this Wednesday, June 19th at 10 a.m. The event will take place at the flagpole in front of the Media Center at Pine Bluff High School, and you know that's in front of the McGeorge building. So we're asking you to please go out and celebrate this historical moment. The Boys and Girls Club Heroes Banquet is scheduled for July 11th, 2024 at the First Methodist Church at 200 West 6th Avenue. This is $50 per person and $500 per table. Mr. Fitzhill will be the keynote speaker. Please contact the Boys and Girls Club if you're interested at 870-850-7500. 870-850-7500 for more information. And that's the Boys and Girls Club Hero Banquet. So please come out and support the Boys and Girls Club. Those are our announcements. Please govern yourselves accordingly. This evening we have 4 speakers who are speaking to non-agenda items. The first speaker is Kevin Pennington. Is Mr. Pennington here? Kevin Pennington, come on up, with Waste Management. He's speaking on waste management.
Thank you all for your time. Basically, what I would like to know is who is the point person for a complaint to Waste Management. I don't feel like that they are doing their job. And, you know, it's been 8 weeks. Tomorrow will be 8 weeks that my dumps have been dumped. They are giving me my money back, which is acceptable, but my question is, the other 19 out of 20 people that don't complain, they're not giving their monies back. And we have no recourse. We can't fire them. And so I would like to know who the point person is for the complaint about Waste Management.
I have, your number is
Yes, it is.
870-550-8206.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a very viable concern. We're working on that, and I know that's not good enough because this has gone on far too long. But you know, they're telling us they don't have trucks, they don't have drivers.
They're telling,
and all
yeah,
that, but-
they're telling me that Pine Bluff cannot supply the workforce. And so they're blaming it on us.
What area
But-
do you live in?
This is on Olive Street. Olive Street. But my, you know,
Is this a business
yes, ma'am.
pickup? Because commercial is where we're having the bulk of the problems right now. But we've had some with residential. Residential has gotten somewhat better, but we're still working on that commercial.
Is there no recourse? Can we not fine them or
Can't fire them.
give them fines?
Fine them?
Yes.
Well, that's something we'll look at. I'll talk to our attorneys about that, but as of now, we don't have that inroad. So,
I thank you for your time.
thank you.
Well,
I'm going to change the order of the people on the agenda. Thank you.
Hold on.
And I have another race management concern. Mr. Frederick Jackson, will you come?
I have a question. Brown Senior had one.
I'm sorry.
I gotta say.
Okay, just a minute.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I understand what you're saying. I get a lot of calls in the community, and I know the people, the supervisors. So I know what you're saying. What numbers do you have? You know, they need to give you, when they tell you something like that, any of you all living in Pine Bluff, you just don't have to go around the world to come pick up some trash.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they giving you excuses after excuses, and you all sit up here, some of you all, and put up with this stuff.
My contention is they're actually making more money by doing a poor job.
They do a very poor
Because they
job.
don't have to buy diesel, they don't have to buy trucks. They're actually making more money by doing a poor job.
I have to call out of state to get a person from Waste Management to make a move. The ones here,
Sure.
it's ridiculous what we got to put up with and pile up. And you people sit out there and put up with this stuff. I mean, really? Come on.
But I do feel your pain. We do get a lot of calls about that. I received one last week about someone over in the Regency Square area. So I do understand, and something needs to be done about it, but
I can't fire them. I can't hire somebody else. I got a friend in Sheridan, he has 3 people. He could fire somebody today, he could hire somebody tomorrow, and hire somebody, a third person, on Friday. I can't fire them. I mean, I can't, my hands are tied. We need help.
we understand. We don't have a lot of choices for Waste Management, though. I mean, you know, for that kind. So that's probably where we're in that trap at, that we don't have a lot of choices. We're just gonna have to, every time they meet with us, they give us all these new telephone numbers and.
We need
et cetera.
to start giving them fines.
Right.
Well, and they're trying to go up on the fees too, I want you to know. I'm totally against it.
Mr. Pennington,
Thank you very
so
much. Thank you.
so much.
Can I say something, Mayor? real
Mr.
quick?
Frederick Jackson,
Mayor,
come on down.
Mayor,
Mayor?
Mayor, can I say something? I've been skipped twice.
I'm sorry.
But anyways, so I have spoken with the manager for Waste Management today, actually. And he told me that they have had to rent 3 more trucks to get everything taken care of. But before the meeting, while I was reading the handout that we got, I have already I took a picture of it, and I've already sent him the information. So upper management has, it's not just the call center, the upper management has your address and everything.
The view from way up high, the upper management, recently was the drivers, and they were doing a good job, and now they got promoted to upper management, and they don't have any drivers. I think that's what's happening.
Not from what I've been told.
Sure.
But I'm just going by what I've been told.
Tomorrow, no joke, 8 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I would tell you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But it's still.
And I understand where you're coming from, because I own some apartments myself, and I had the same issue. But if anybody out here, if you have any issues with your trash, you can look up my phone number online, my cell phone number. All I need is for you to send me your address and like a picture or anything like that, and I will forward it to, because the guy from Waste Management, he has asked me to send him any complaints, any pictures, or any concerns with trash pickup. So you're more than welcome to text it to me, and I will send it directly to him.
Thank y'all for your help.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Hello, City Council. I pretty much have the same concern. I think, I'm not saying nobody's concern is more important than mine, but when you're in your leasing office and a tenant walks in and they say, hey, I've been trying to dump my trash for 2 weeks and I pay my rent on time, why you all not paying your bill for them to pick up the trash? To me, that is not feasible in the business that landlords are in. Because when you have maintenance staff and they're transporting trash to relieve the dumpsters to other locations that they are picking up, I'm not going to keep maintenance guys that long picking up other people's trash with feces in it, baby diapers. We have to do something with, I understand there's contracts that y'all have. I don't want to get into logistics of that. It should be something in that contract where you all can get out of the contracts. Because I've called the mayor's office. I even have contacts, like he said, direct contacts with Waste Management with a young lady, last name Brittany, last name Britton. I text her 2 or 3 times out of a week, and she'll say, okay, I'm going to put the request in, I'm going to route it to my route manager, and nothing happens. And what I've noticed now is, since they're having problems in the residential area, the residential people are starting to drop their trash off in our dumpsters, and then Waste Management to say, well, you had some 2x4s, or you had a couch, or you had, we're not putting it in there. You all are not picking up trash at the residential. So now we're getting, so what they do, they don't pick our dumpster up. So now my maintenance staff and I have to go in the dumpsters, pick all this stuff out that we have and we have to put it somewhere where we take to the country, burn it. It has to go somewhere. So it is a very big issue. It's bigger than what y'all really think it is. Because when you have, over 150 some properties and your trash is not being picked up, it creates a problem. It's other things that we can be doing, because I know in my business, in any business that I've had, when I receive notifications from you guys, we may have to work overtime. So if they don't have enough staff, they just need to pay them overtime. My bill is over $5,000 a month total, all the dumpsters. And I have called Waste Management, I've complained, they said they're gonna give me credits. I never see the credits, never. I don't have time to call them again and sit on the phone for 30, 40 minutes. I have other important things to do than to beg for my money back.
I certainly understand where you're coming from too, because we do not have time to stay on the phone when we got something. You got other things to do, and you call them, you got to wait through voicemail. The operators and hidden buttons and all that. We do understand. We are in a precarious situation with Waste Management because we don't immediately have somebody that could take their place. And their problem right now is trucks. So if you get a newcomer, they're gonna probably be short of trucks too, and they gotta come further from where we are. So, but we do understand, and we're not excusing them because they get our money in our water bill every month. We do pay that. And I just understood you say $5,000?
One of my locations is $2,600 a month.
Okay.
And they came on a Monday. They supposed to come Mondays and Thursdays. They came on a Monday. I'm just giving y'all an example of what happened the last couple weeks.
Right.
They come on a Monday. They supposed to pick up Thursday. We don't see them. By the weekend, it's overflowing. So maintenance men come in Monday. They supposed to pick up again on Monday. We don't see them. They come Thursday. I'm calling by Wednesday and I'm fussing. I'm calling the mayor's office. I'm trying to be respectful. I'm not having attitudes of no one.
Right.
Thursday come, they still don't show up. They come the next following Monday. Trash is everywhere. We can't even move it to other locations because they're not picking up there either.
And
what
smelly.
do we do?
And smelly.
Yes. And what happens is you have raccoons. Well, I can go on and on with this. We have raccoons. Raccoons, when it's full, they're getting in, you can't close the lids. So now trash is all over your parking lots. Now your maintenance guys running trash. Don't let a windstorm come through. Oh, it's over. We got to do something about this. I cannot maintain to be in this city and we cannot get trash picked up. I just rather take my business elsewhere because no
understand.
other companies, Atlanta, I talked to investors there, they don't have this problem. We're the only, Little Rock, they're not having this problem. Waste Management is in Little Rock, but we need other options. It's a monopoly here. So if Waste Management know no one else can come through and get that business, they're not gonna do better.
I think you're right. We need aggression. We need that because they're doing what they want to do.
And I will say this, there are some other communities having the same problem. I was in Little Rock last week, 3 days, with the Arkansas Municipal League. And so we are having the problem, but there are some other communities having the problem as well. What they're telling us is it is workforce, and then sometimes they tell you it's equipment. But we are working on this and we're going to be more aggressive.
Yeah, they've told me workforce, but honestly, they have a contract fulfilled. Because if you guys hold me to a certain standard on my businesses, you all need to hold them to a certain standard on the business. Because you all send me a notice saying grass is high because I slipped on one, and you guys told me today, hold them to the same accountability. Because $5,000 a month is too much, and I cannot, and I will not stay on the phone with Waste Management trying to get money back.
And the number that we have for you here is your correct number.
Yeah, you have my number. I mean, I complain. No one calls me back. No one. I have sat here and I've complained about multiple issues, and everybody will come and say, "Oh, let us know, don't help," and nobody does anything. Kind of like y'all doing now. You're kind of like just passing the torch. We talking to them. They promised us. This has been going on for years. This didn't just start. This just didn't start this year. This has been ongoing, and you all keep signing those contracts with Waste Management. I don't know why.
You know something? The next time it comes up, I'm gonna break it down, the contract, because I'm like you, I understand. I got some numbers I want to pass to you all, the good numbers.
I've had those numbers, and what happens, a new staff come in, and the number changes.
Well,
and
that's them. I got some numbers. I know what y'all saying, you all are saying, and it's a shame that people in Pine Bluff put up with all this stuff. They don't complain. People call me to complain, and I call them.
Yeah,
we have to, just being up here, man, it's nothing.
But we're complaining, but nothing's happening.
Well,
so you get, just like you get tired of calling them, you get tired of complaining.
Well, I got some numbers you can call. Just call the people. That's their job. A lot of people these days, elected or not, they don't want to do their job in authority for some reason in this area. And the citizens know that, but they'll give me a call, and I call the people. You know?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Jackson, thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Mayor.
Dominique.
I'd like to make a suggestion to the citizens that have an issue with waste management. I'd like to see us document very specifically what the issue is about the pickup, because here's what we have, man. Waste management makes the same money whether they pick up your garbage or not. If they have a workforce issue, that means they're not paying employees. So my issue is if our citizens can document what their lapse in service is, because they're due some compensation. If you say your garbage is to be picked up and you're paying your bill and they don't pick it up, what I'd like to see is for every individual to document when, how, and what expense you're incurring by them not picking up the trash, and even if there's a value associated with your employees managing trash, because that's not what you're supposed to do, and we have a conversation with Waste Management about their lack of service and what the compensation to the citizens are, because if the citizens are paying their bill and not getting the service, that's a breach of contract. And what I'm saying is, I don't want to sue Waste Management, but I would like to sit down with the management team to see what is the value to our citizens for their failure to execute the contract and pick up their garbage on a timely basis.
Like you can actually, when I set up the automatic payments, which I have stopped them, but when I set up the automatic payments, you can log into your account and you can see what day they missed it. It shows it. They'll say, miss your trash pickup, or even if they have an issue, if something isn't done, they take a picture of it. You can see the automation of the machine dumping it in the back. You can see everything. So they don't hide it. They just don't credit the bill.
But I need you to document, what I'm just saying, document it in such a way that it can be presented, because the way America works is if you don't document what you are being short of you can't sue for compensation. You just, complaining. And I'm tired of telling my citizens that call this number, and I call this guy, and he said he working on it. 2 days later, he's still working on it. I'm just to hear with this being able to call people, and they still not being able to remedy the call. So what I'm saying is we're at a point now that we need people to document what the cost is for them not getting their garbage picked up. And Madam Mayor, once we get enough information about what is not being done, we need to talk to Waste Management about a breach of contract. And we don't need to hear excuses. If you got a labor issue, that means you're not paying labor, so you got some cash, you can refund people. But we got to be able to say that Waste Management is a business. It's a monopoly. And with that monopoly, people are billed and they have no choice but to pay. But if you're not doing your end, somebody's got to compensate somebody. We can't keep telling these folks that we can't do anything about their trash being picked up and they're paying their bill.
I agree, and I also agree that while that conversation is going on, we need to be looking at somewhere else, because at the end of the day, like, we shouldn't be putting up with mediocre or lackluster service from any company that is receiving funds from citizens and the city of Pine Bluff. I just feel like we need to look at other options. They should not be the only option when it comes to waste management. And whatever that means, I think that's what we need to be working on. Like, okay, yeah, we know waste management, but okay, let's move on to the next. Because right now we already know what their performance is.
Councilman Holcomb.
Mayor, doesn't that contract end at the end of the year?
November next year is the contract time.
But they done breached it, so it could be ended at any point at this point.
And can we come talk to them about their contract being in since they have breached it?
Well, we always talk with them.
Hold on, I'm talking.
That is something that we'll talk to the attorneys about, and we'll see where we are with that.
And my question is, are there other waste?
But there are no, you don't have, they have a 100, well, it was when they signed it, year lease on the dump. There's nobody else you're going to come in, because we've tried that, we've gone that route. And then there's another company that works out of Little Rock, but my understanding is that Waste Management just recently purchased that company. So when we say there is a monopoly on the dumping here with Waste Management, that's where we have. Councilman Malaki was 100% right on that, but we have been having conversations on a regular basis. And so we'll just see. I hadn't thought about moving forward to file a breach of contract on them, but that's something that we can look at since they are. And we thought that they would have this resolved before now, because they have sent some trucks out periodically to relieve some areas, but it's not been anything consistent or anything that you could feel, just like Mr. Jackson said. They're there on Monday, but they don't show up on Thursday. They don't show up on Wednesday. So the inconsistency is not fixing the problem for us. So we have to get more aggressive about what we're doing to try to correct this problem. So that's something we are working on, and that we have to push forward at a more aggressive rate. I'm going to move on to...
May I speak? Now, I understand what you all saying. We shouldn't give them an excuse all the time, and I don't. So 870-718-5869 is my number. You don't have to give them no excuse all the time. That's their job. And we in Pine Bluff just put up with anything. What y'all, look how I look outside. What, all them ditches out there flooded, all in the street, and we just ride by them. I understand. Thank you.
And their contract actually ends October 31st, 2025, based on the contract that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. Okay. Is this Dominique? You Dominique? I apologize for your delay, but Dominique Judge wants to speak to us on safety concerns.
I'm here today to bring to your urgent attention a matter that's affecting our community.
Talk to the mic, please.
I'm here to address gun violence and an active shooter in Ward 2 in my neighborhood. On May 4th, we called the Pine Bluff Police Department to report our vehicle being shot. The police responded, gave us an incident number, and took no further action. We were told by our community members, "You've been christened. Welcome to the Bluff." On June 8th, a shooting occurred at the corner of my home, with one of the shooters standing in my yard outside of my bedroom window. We were informed by officers that the shooter had a right to protect themselves. What they felt they needed to protect themselves from, I don't know. The officer informed us to buy protection, implying for us to buy a gun. On June 10th in the afternoon, a shooting occurred in my backyard, outside of my kitchen window, in the area where my young children typically play. Police responded, picked up shell casings, and had an utter disregard for the situation, including one officer condescendingly asking myself and my neighbors if we felt threatened. How do you experience such a thing and not feel threatened? If school were in session, the bus would have been dropping off children in the middle of a gunfight. We asked what was being done about the situation, and the responding officer advised us to put up a fence and buy a gun. I bought cameras instead. June 14th at 1:20 a.m., we were jolted awake by the sounds of rapid gunfire outside our home. Camera footage shows a vehicle drive-by shooting of my home. We called the police again. The officer informed us that it was criminal mischief and there was nothing they would do, as the jails won't hold the offenders as the crime is not severe enough. I am floored by the fact that the frequency alone, much less the intent to harm, was not enough to warrant a greater response. It was not until we pointed out that our home had sustained damage to gunfire that the officer took the matter somewhat seriously, stating, "Here we go," and calling in the crime scene to be looked at. 1 shot to my car, 2 shots to my van, 3 reported shots to my house. We found 3 more when the sun came up. I went down to the police station later in the day to make sure that they got the footage and to talk to them about the incident. I was informed that the detective on the case was off for the day and would be back Monday. While another detective did speak with me, I was left feeling disregarded and like the safety of my family and my neighbors was a bother. Today, June 17th, at just past midnight, shots were fired again. Thankfully, not in my yard this time. Police responded and rounded the neighborhood. That was it. I am deeply troubled by the frequency of these incidents and the impacts on our safety and well-being. This is not criminal mischief. This is an active shooter and an act of terrorism. This goes far beyond someone firing off a gunshot on the 4th of July. These individuals are terrorizing our neighborhood and stripping my family of the safety and sanctity of our home. I am bringing this matter to the council and asking my elected officials and those that they appoint to please address the situation and do what it takes to make our neighborhood safe and end the violence before human life is lost.
Where do you live?
I live off of Beach and 23rd in Ward 2.
So I got just a quick question. So you're saying people are shooting at your house or in your yard or in your backyard? They're actually coming to, I'm trying to get an understanding, like.
There has been an active shooter continuously, and it has been centered in that corner. The shooters have been all over that area, my yard, my neighbor's yard, in the street, in the vacant lots that are growed up, in the alleyway that is barely accessible for officers. It is something out of a movie or a third world country, not the United States.
So it's not an active shooter, these are active shooters?
No, the police are telling us that this is the same individuals. This is an active shooter situation.
Okay, how long have you lived there?
I have lived there for 1 year.
And so did you just start experiencing this June?
May 4th was the first incident.
May 4th was the first time? And you've not had any police surveillance or?
So you saying they know who it is?
Right.
The police are stating that they have an idea of who it is, and they are, quote, looking for the individual. However, they have done no further action. Where does this end?
I understand what you're saying. I get calls all the time. It's an extra, we're gonna start with the extra patrol in your neighborhood around your house. Do you have that, the police?
It has been intermittent. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying they're doing nothing.
Okay. So you call them. I understand. I understand. And we're gonna correct this. And you got my word on it. You know, it's a lot going on in the city that shouldn't be going on. These citizens should not be scared every day. We sit up here like we running things. You know how many calls I get all the time?
Ms. Judge,
Yes, sir.
I'll speak with the chief, okay?
Thank you.
I'll call her myself, I'll call her personally, and I'll talk to her. So we're just not gonna just sit here and just try to tell all these stories. I will talk to the chief.
No, that's just real talk.
Councilmember Mays.
That's just real talk,
Councilmember
man.
Mays.
She has a problem.
Councilmember Mays.
She has a problem, and we need to solve her problem. They have a problem.
Councilmember Mays.
See, that's what they do.
Councilmember
Try to look
Mays.
over me like I'm the senior alderman. I got more
Ms.
time than
Judge,
all of them.
Thank you for reporting this to us. We
Thank you.
will look into this aggressively.
Take a note, write it in your calendar and
Councilmember Mays.
let her take a note like I do.
Councilmember Mays.
Write it down, go home and see what happened. They do a lot of talking up here.
Councilmember Mays. She's already done that, and we've already heard from her, and we're going to address it.
You got a lot of citizens out
Our
there
last
with
speaker
issues.
for this evening is Leona Allison. Is Miss Allison here? Ms. Allison, thanks for your patience.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Allison wants to speak to us on petition collections.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. My name is Leona Allison, and I relocated to Pine Bluff in 2013 from Mississippi.
Ms. Allison, just let me make an announcement very quickly, if you will, please. There's a gray Nissan SUV with dealership tags, and your lights are blinking. It's M12. Okay, it's your vehicle? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I relocated to Pine Bluff in 2013 from Mississippi, and I'm currently working through Verified Arkansas on a campaign where we are collecting signatures from the citizens for some initiatives that are going to be on the ballot in November when we go to vote. In Arkansas, the people have the power in a direct democracy, and that's what we're working for, whereas this allows the citizens to propose and vote on laws directly. There isn't a particular candidate or anything, but for our rights and our voice to be heard. Change starts with you, and it starts with me. The initiatives that we have, the first one is the Arkansas Right to Government Transparency. This is an act and an amendment that we're asking our citizens to sign. The second one is a School Standards and State Education Obligations Initiative, which will create access to pre-K, after-school, and summer programs for kids that are in poverty and quality special education. Any kind of schools that are receiving public funding from the state will have to adhere to the same standards. Private schools, charter schools, public schools. We also have, we're looking at an exemption on sales tax for feminine hygiene products and diapers. We're looking at abortion, the women's reproductive rights, and the medical marijuana expansion initiative. We have all across Arkansas, this is all it concerns is Arkansas, that we are gathering signatures. We have to get at least 90,000 signatures in order for these initiatives to be on the ballot to vote on. So I'm asking for support, help with the community. We go business to business asking if we can set up in their parking lot and ask customers, you know, mainly restaurants and stores, if they would like to sign these petitions. Some areas we've had people tell us, no, you know, I don't want to offend my customers, but these initiatives, each one is a separate petition. So if there's something you don't feel, that it's within your morals or standards to vote on, then you don't sign it. You can sign the other one. The deadline that we have is July 5th to gather all of these signatures, and it will be presented to the Secretary of State. And from there, they will either approve or not approve. And that's all. So I do have petitions with me if anybody would like to sign or would like to take some with them to get their friends and family to sign, because we are getting right at the very end of this.
What did you say your deadline was?
July 5th. And I have a flyer, if everybody would like one, we can get you one of those so you can look it over.
And where can people get the actual information on each of the items that you're asking them to vote on so they can really know what they're voting on?
On these flyers, there is a website that you can go to, and it will go into detail about exactly what that amendment or act will do.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
That ends our public announcements for tonight. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you at our next council meeting, July 1, 2023.